Hello everybody and welcome back to Science Terminology. Today we're going to talk about the difference between weather and climate, which are kind of used interchangeably but are actually different things. And the example I give underneath is a snapshot versus a long exposure. In photography, right, a snapshot is just like that nice little quick picture, whereas a long exposure is where you let the camera absorb the light for a long amount of time. And that's kind of the difference between weather and climate. So let's get going. We'll talk about each one, and we'll be able to see why. So first off, weather, like I said earlier, is kind of like a snapshot of the environment, right? Today it's snowy. Today it rained 3 inches. Today it's really hot. Weather is what's happening on that day. It's an individual event at a location in time. Climate, on the other hand, is the overall pattern of weather over a longer period of time. So, right, like in the Southwest, it's arid, or in rainforests, it rains a lot, right? That's the climate of that area. Hawaii is tropical because of where that's its climate. So climate is the pattern of weather made up of many days and events, right? It's a long exposure. It's a long section of data. So because of that, right, these two things are very different despite the way that they're used, right? Weather is one instance, it changes often as dynamic, and it's affected by lots of different factors, whereas climate, right, is a pattern of weather and events, and it's supposed to be relatively stable or static, right? The climate of a region isn't going to change all the time, right? It's supposed to stay relatively similar for long periods of time. And it's affected by many factors like carbon dioxide levels and currents and the elevation and topography. So why focus on weather versus climate? Well, so the because of climate change and the arguments that shouldn't be arguments, but they're happening at the political levels, in our halls of our government. We need to make sure we understand the vocabulary around it, right? When we're saying that climate is changing, that means that the pattern of weather, right, that's supposed to be stable and static is changing, and it's changing rapidly because of stuff that we're doing, right? So when a senator brings a snowball into the Senate and says, well, it snowed today, so there's no such thing as global warming, he's really confusing weather and climate. Sure, it can snow on any given day. That's always been possible, but the overall climate of the Earth is getting hotter. The overall climate of the Earth is changing. The overall climate of different areas is changing, and that's what's important, right? Yeah, weather might change from day to day, but if the climate changes, that's going to lead to even worse things. Thank you for listening and learning about the difference between weather and climate, and stay tuned for another science terminology video. Thank you. Bye.